والله يدعو إلى دار السلام ويهدي من يشاء إلى صراط مستقيم.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to a new episode of your show, Inspirations. Today, inshallah, we are delving into the concept of worship. As we realized last week that the obligation upon us towards our Creator, to thank Him, to be good to Him, to be grateful to Him, is basically to devote our lives to Him, to be thankful to Him. And all this is included within the concept, the beautiful concept of worship, which is widely misunderstood today among all religions, all adherents to all religions basically. So today we'll try to have a fresh kind of understanding or perception of worship. What does it mean? And hopefully that by the end of this episode we will come to realize that worship is something very essential and more important even than water and food. Hopefully that this is the conclusion that we will try to make clear. And let me, before we get into this, welcome our guests. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Nice to have you here. You know, last week we talked about the obligation our Creator has upon us. And we said that as we acknowledged at the beginning that He is the Creator, the one who gave us life, the one who brought us to this world, the one who gave us everything we enjoy and everything, you know, we feel proud of. Everything we love, it is a gift and a bounty from our Creator. So as we have acknowledged that He is the Creator, He is the sustainer, the one who gives us food, the one who gives us provision, this necessitates and leads us to the concept or to the second right of God. After recognizing Him and recognizing His attributes and His own actions, His handiwork and His art in the creation, after this necessitates that we thank Him because He gave us everything. It is an inevitable kind of result of acknowledging the Creator and His attributes. After getting to know that He has been so kind to us, so merciful, so compassionate, so loving, you know, it is just natural. It is human. When someone does you a favor, you will be thankful to him. That's necessary. So as we came to the conclusion, or the second conclusion is that we have, in thankfulness to our Creator, to follow the way of life that He set for us. Because this way that He set for us is the best way man can ever follow. It's the only way to salvation, basically. We said that salvation, and which is this right of the Creator, is to worship Him, to dedicate our lives to Him. But now, just to elucidate the point more, and try to explain it and break it down, we will try to understand the meaning of worship. What does worship mean? You know, unfortunately, in the world as a whole, all adherents to most of the religions, when you say worship, something dull comes to their mind, something boring, something off-putting, something that is not really acceptable, something that is impractical at all. Why is this kind of misconception? And let's take ourselves back to square one. When we said about real freedom. Real freedom is to free yourself from all preconditioning, all misconceptions, all stereotypes. This is the reality of our life. Because if we submit our brains, our minds to other people, that means that we have enslaved ourselves to them. We have given them the right to choose for us. And this is some kind of crime against yourself. Most of the conceptions or misconceptions that we have in this world are the creation or are the work of mankind, of people who want to manipulate others. So in order for yourself to be a real, free person or human being, you have to make your own way. Put everything to the test. Don't enslave yourself to others. And as we said, this is the most fundamental and the number one obligation everyone has towards himself. Make your own way. People are always influenced by their prejudice, by their conditioning, by their circumstances, the way they judge things, the way they judge life, the way they judge religion, the way they judge worship, the way they classify others. You know, this concept of classification, those who get into sociolinguistics and discourse analysis, they know the importance and the critical position classification has in our lives. You know, it's very easy to reject someone as you say, this person is evil. You have to classify them as evil. Maybe you don't know this person, but you only heard that this person is evil. So it's easy for you to say, he's evil, okay, I'll accept this classification, so you don't deal with him. But have you tried to put this to the test? Many people, when they hear about Islam, the kind of idea or stereotype that they get from the media, from so many people, is that the Muslims are some kind of terrorists or cannibals, or they want to rule the world to destroy every other civilization. Many people have this kind of perception about Islam. And it's easy for them to classify Islam according to this stereotype. That's it. Then they will block their minds. They won't think about Islam. And what we say to the people, don't take anything you hear, anything you are taught for granted. Always put it to the test so that you be yourself. You know, your life will become a life of achievement. If you really believe in this concept, choose your own way. You know what happens to how, you know, the inventors throughout history, the ones we heard about, the great scholars and scientists who made the great inventions, how did they make that? They broke from the habit of taking things for granted. They didn't take anything for granted. They decided to put everything to the test. So this is why they found new ways. And they had these great contributions to humanity. And this is our responsibility today. The reason why I started with this kind of introduction is the importance of it to understand the concept of worship. The concept of worship. Let me take some kind of a broad meaning of the word worship. In any language, what do you think basically worship is? What does worship mean? Kareem, what do you think worship is? Thanks. To give thanks, yes? Okay, let me, please. So worship, as I said, we want to get the meaning. What did you say, Kareem? What is worship?
Thanks.
Thanks, very good. Okay, thank you very much. Really, the basic concept, that's true, of worship is to give thanks. To give thanks. That's the very basic one. So, who can expound more on the meaning of worship? The meaning of worship. Mohammad, please.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay, well, I believe that worship has, so to speak, two sides. There is two sides of the coin here. It has a general meaning as well as a specific meaning.
Let's talk about the general
Generally
meaning.
speaking, every act you do seeking the pleasure of your creator, i.e. Allah, will be worship. That's that.
Okay, so it can include any action, every action.
Yep, every good action you did, you do.
I want to go into the essence of the word worship. What does worship mean? What does it include? Let's break it down. You know, people hear about worship. As I said, what comes to their minds, what occurs to them when they hear worship is something boring, something confining, some kind of strange way of life that it means you don't enjoy your life, you will live a life of deprivation and austerity. But what is the meaning? Break it down. What does worship mean?
Yep, I believe that this stereotyping about worship comes from the aspects of humility, submissiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe that worship has to do with these meanings.
Okay.
I mean, they are embedded in
Very
this
good.
word.
Very good. Humility, we have humility, and we have submission as well. So these are aspects of worship. Can you please pass on the mic? Yes. So that's very good. Humility. Worship means humility, that you have some kind of humility and humbleness towards the one you worship. Towards the one you worship, and some kind of submission. So you give precedence to His will against your own will, or over your own will. Basil, please, do you have something?
Yeah, there's, of course, total and complete devotion. And
devotion, very
devotion, and definitely living the way and worshiping Him the way He wants you to worship Him. That's important.
With some kind of submission, can I include this in submission?
Very submissive, of course.
Very good.
Total surrender and submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's what it's all about.
You know, let's go to what we can call the bottom line, okay? The basic level. You know, we use this in our everyday language. People say, you know, when someone loves a girl, for example, or she loves him, they say he loves her so much that he really worships her. What does this mean? What does this mean? You know, some people, they say they worship football. What does this mean? Yes. So You see, we're trying just to go deep into the roots of the word worship. Try to see where it comes from, what does it mean?
Okay. I believe that in the case of a lover, he makes this girl the center of his life. He revolves around her in an orbit. And that's what I believe meant by the meaning of worship.
Very good. Okay, that's very good. I think now we're getting a bit closer to the meaning or the essence of the word worship. We said humility, submission, and devotion, which is as well to make something the center of your life. The concept of the center of your life, the center of one's life, this is very known in psychology. Everyone has a center for his life. Something that is very important, that means everything to him in his life. All his actions, all his thoughts, all his behavior, goes into that kind of direction. This is worship. But the concept I wanted to get to, even in French, like for example, we have in English the same verb, which is adore. Adore, which is to love something so much. In French they have it as adore. Okay? When someone says, I love someone so much, they say j'adore in French. Okay? That I love him, that I really worship this kind of person. Their own expression. So what does worship here include? Includes love. The concept of love. So now if you put these things together, we can see that worship is not that kind of the dull idea or notion that people have in their minds about worship. It's basically love. And love is something so human. Love. It's deep love. This kind of love makes the object or the thing that you love the center of your life. The center of your life. Some people love football so much that it becomes the center of their life. And they submit their lives to it. So if it takes from them money, if it requires more money, they will give money. If it requires time, which is the most precious thing that we have, they will devote their time. If it requires, sometimes that one compromises even his own dignity sometimes. Those who love football, for example, or singing, or business so much, they will do this. So worship is something very human. It's something that is basic and well-founded in the souls of human beings. Now let's go into the Islamic terminology. What do we mean when we say worship? Kareem gave a very good point, which is to give thanks. Now in Islam we worship Allah, the Creator. We worship Him. Okay? So let's take the definition of Kareem, which is worship is to give thanks. Okay, how do we give thanks to Allah? Do you know Muhammad? How do we give thanks to Allah? Please take the mic.
We pray and we fast on Ramadan and we go to the mosque.
Very good. So this is how we thank Allah, yes?
Yes.
Very good. We thank Allah by doing some acts of worship. Doing some acts of worship. Now, I want to get into the Islamic concept of worship. The Islamic concept of worship. Can you please give me the mic, Muhammad? Okay. Now, Islamically, when I say worship in Islam, what do I mean? Can you give me some kind of definition, brief definition about worship? From the things that we just said. The things we just said. Basil?
We said total devotion and dedication.
Devotion and dedication.
To Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Living the way He wants us to live. Okay, so by worshipping Him in everything we do, because we are aware that He is with us in everything that, wherever we are. So, when He says in the Quran, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ, the only reason that I have created you is to worship me. So that's how we go about it. He actually made it very clear. But you touched on the subject, worship is love, right? So many people at the time, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ claimed, hey, we love Allah, we live for Him, we believe and all that. He sent down and revealed down an ayah, a very nice ayah, to test truly, do they really love or not? He said, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهِ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put a condition. He said, if you truly claim to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, follow me. He's asking Prophet Muhammad, tell those people, follow me and Allah will love you back. So there's a condition. If you go to other religions, you touched on other religions, there's something called unconditional love. All you have to do is just believe in whatever. You believe and you'll be forgiven, salvation, you know what it is. Kill, do all these bad things, you're forgiven. This is not the way it is in Islam. There's a condition for Allah's love, which is to follow Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and love, as we already said, you center your life around Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Prophet Muhammad ﷺ.
Very good, very good. So this actually really draws us into the meaning of the word worship in Islam. Basically, worship does not only mean love. Let me try to give, do you have some kind of definition about worship? Yes.
Yes, I have something. Worship is humiliation with love to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Very good. Humility to Allah combined with love.
With love. And to surrender to Allah.
Get the mic closer.
To free yourself from all conditions and to be only slave to God.
Yes.
And to free yourself and to forget all materialistics and just to live for God. And this will reflect in your life and around your life.
Do we get some kind of consensus that basically love means to make Allah the center of your life, worship, to make Allah the center of your life, and that everything goes around that? Do you have something to add, Muhammad?
Actually, I believe that I'll derive the meaning of worship out of the shahadatain, the word of testimony. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu Muhammad Rasulullah. I bear witness that there is none who has the right to be worshipped except for Allah, and that Muhammad is his slave and messenger, or his servant and messenger. I believe we can derive the meaning of word worship from two, let me say, conditions that have to do with this testimony. Sincerity to Allah and following the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And such, the broader meaning of worship will be anything you do for seeking the pleasure of Allah once you are sincere and doing it following the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ.
Very good. Well, this is some kind of expounding on the point, but we're just trying to get to the center or to the basic meaning of worship in Islam. Let me try to summarize, put all of this together. Worship basically means in Islam, the basic meaning of it is to have humility towards Allah, that you feel that you need Him, that you feel that you are thankful to Him, that you feel that you are under His command, under His control. This is humility, this is the first concept. The second concept is love, that you love Him because the things He gave us. What did He give you, Muhammad? Please, can you pass on the mic? What did He give you, Muhammad, so that you thank Him?
He gave us our mom and dad, and He gave us our heart and our eyes and our ears.
So He gave us
So
everything.
much,
So you
something
love your dad and your mom so much, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, very good, Muhammad. So basically, we love God, or we love Allah, or our Creator, for the things He gave us. We thank Him for that, and we love Him for that. You know, it's human really, when someone does you a favor, as you said previously, you have this kind of emotion or love towards that person. Can you please give me the mic, Muhammad? Okay, so you have this kind of love towards him. That's normal, that's human. So this is why one of the ways to really win people over, to win their hearts, is to be good to them. Is to give them from yourself. Help them, support them. They will love you. This is just human. So He gave us everything. He brought us to life. He created the whole world and subjected it to us. He made it, under our use and under our, command to use it and benefit from it. So this really brings love to our hearts. So we have two concepts now, humility, and we have love. And what else? Because Allah is the all-powerful, the mighty. And He said that those who are not thankful to me, I have prepared something for them. What is this thing? We'll get to this and after we have this short break. And we say to our viewers, stay tuned, we'll come after the break, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. You're still watching Inspirations. And today we're still trying to expound on the concept of worship, this wonderful concept that is very deep in the human nature. We will see how it's very essential and of paramount importance in the life of every one of us. Now we said, just before we had the break, that worship is basically humility to our Creator, love that we have for Him, this overwhelming love because of everything He gave us. And we said that God said, those who thank me, I will be grateful to them, I will reward them. What about the ones who transgress? Someone after Allah created the whole universe for them, He gave them, as Muhammad said, their mom and their dad, and He gave them the wealth that they have, the whole world. He created it for us. Everything that we have, everything we enjoy, everything we love, even the faculty of comprehension that we consider the world with, and that we are thinking or using it to understand our Creator, it's His own gift. As Allah says in His book, the Quran, which we have established, that it is the revelation of the Creator. And it's only some kind of instruction for us to understand this life from the one who knows it best. So He said that those who transgress, those who are ungrateful, those who oppress themselves and oppress the deep need in themselves to know their Creator and be thankful to Him, I have prepared for them a severe punishment and chastisement. So worship basically, let me try to sum up with this point, try to recap, so we move to the next point of today's episode. So worship basically in Islam means love and fear. We love Allah for all the things He has given us, and we are thankful to Him. And we fear Allah because of His might, because of His severe punishment. We fear that because we are aware of His power. We are aware of the severity of His punishment. And so we have love and fear, and we have what? Because of what we know that He prepared for the believing servants, for the thankful ones, we have hope in Him. We have hope in the Creator. And all of this is manifested in submission. In submission. And basically worship is the story of human beings. This is what we are created for. We said last week that, as the verse that you quoted, that وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ, I have only created the jinn and mankind only to worship me. The only purpose for their creation is to worship me. So worship is not, as we said, after we dealt with it, it means love and hope and fear of the punishment of Allah. It's just, they are healthy kind of milestones or directions that will set everything right in our lives. It's not the kind of boring understanding that people have about worship. So it is so deep into our souls to worship, to thank. And one proof to prove that worship is very essential in human life, all civilizations, all people have something to worship. Whether it's the true Creator or something false. All the nations, wherever you go, they have something to worship. Even those who claim that they don't worship, if you look at their lives, they worship something because they made it the center of their life. They love it, and they fear to lose it or to fail in it, and they have hope in it, and they submit to the conditions that it entails. Simple. It's worship. So those who love football and make it the center of their life, they have worshipped football. I don't say football is something bad, it is good. But if you make it the center of your life, you live for it, you submit to it, to its conditions, you love it so much, everything in your life goes around that, then you have worshipped football. Some people worship education. And when they fail in education, nothing remains in their life. Because they made it the center of their life. When they lose it, their life is gone. There's no meaning. So basically life has no meaning without having something central to worship, to base your whole life on it. This is the meaning of worship. So worship basically every human being on the face of this earth, every human being who has ever lived on this earth has worshipped. Every human being has the concept of worship. It's just the way you classify it. This is when I said that classification makes it very easy for you, and it's very destructive. Because you can classify someone, as I said, as evil without knowing what he is. You only have this kind of categorization in your mind, so you put him aside. You put that thing aside, and that's done. You know, some people live in their lives believing that education and taking a degree is something not good. There are people who think this way. They say it wastes your time. You should get straight into business and you will make your money, make your fortune. They believe this is the way. Why? Because they learned that from something or some kind of experience made them believe that. And they have categorized education as something bad, as something evil. They don't want to learn. And even when they realize that there is benefit in learning, they block their minds. Why? Because of classification. So the problem with people about conceiving worship is that they said worship is associated in their minds with something dull, something boring, something, as I said, off-putting. We don't like it. It's not the kind of life I want to live. But whatever the life or the lifestyle that you follow, you are worshipping something. Because you definitely, if you made something the center of your life. Now, I believe we have understood the concept of worship. Basically, worship is human. And if you have some, and I even say this to our viewers as well, if you have some kind of misunderstanding about the word worship, don't take it for granted. Don't take this kind of culture that you have, or perception of worship, don't take it for granted. Go into it, understand it, and you will see that even you worship something. No matter what you do in your life, because you cannot live without worship, similarly or exactly as you can't live without water, without nutrition, without food, and without love, because it's very human. It's part of us. This is what worship is. Now let me move to the next point, which is very essential. Now, as we are talking about worship, we are Muslims, alhamdulillah. How can we achieve worship today, at this age? Past generations, they worshipped the Creator, and they had their own circumstances. Now we have different circumstances. How can we achieve this concept of worship with its broad meaning, to make everything in our life for Allah? I want to be practical. Tell me about a personal experience that you have, how you made worship, or how even you used your work, everything around you, you have used this and benefited from it, or utilized it to worship the Creator. Do you have anything? Okay, Bassett?
Please. First of all, Islam is a way of life that touches on every aspect in our life. That's extremely important for us to know. So there's no such thing in Islam was not covered by the Creator, the source of our knowledge. And if we want to live the way He wants us to live, all we need to know is just know how does He want us to live. And it's all covered in Islam. You just touched on the subject of loving football, loving education. There is nothing wrong with that. I want to tell you how Islam made us look at it. He said it all has to do with your niyyah, devoted intention to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You want to love football, fine. As long as you love it for the right purpose, which means you love football to strengthen your body, to become a better worshipper. You love football maybe to raise some money, to help in charity. So on and so forth. Education, same exact thing. Love, I don't know how to say education. Someone who loves education so much.
Yes.
Love it as much as you want, but at the same time, deep inside of your mind, you are loving it, so you can teach it to others for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to make Him happier.
So it's not your ultimate purpose?
No, it is just means to reach that, the objective, which is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And let's just not always make sure that we always keep in mind that what's happening most of the world right now is what they're doing, or separation between religion and life. And this is something absolute does not exist in Islam.
That's a very important point.
It's a unit, okay? They separate. They tell you that's why they hate worshiping. It's not a way of life for them. They go into whatever church and when they come out, God does not exist. As if Allah was in the church and He's not out of the church. He's all over.
Yes.
You need to worship Him in everything you do. That's why if you change this attitude, change the way you look at life through the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how He wants you to live, it will definitely be a lot easier for you. I will leave time for someone else.
Very good. Okay. So that's very good. So worship and life, actually, let me try to get some of the words that you said. Basically, worship and life are inseparable, are one entity. The problem is with the kind of culture that has become widespread. So people made this kind of separation or segregation between worship and life. But basically, as the verse that you quoted, I've only created the jinn and mankind with the sole purpose that they should worship me. This is what the Creator said. So basically life, the reason why life is already there because of worship. So how can you say they're separate? Basically life is worship. And I tell you, honestly, without worship, life is nothing. Life is nothing. Okay, can you just pass on the microphone?
I earlier told you about, if you love me, Prophet Muhammad said, if you love God, follow me and Allah will love you back. The same exact verse is actually in the Bible. I don't know, why are they separating religion from life? It says in the Bible, it says, if you love God, follow me. Jesus is saying, Isa alayhi salam, follow me and God will love you back. Which means, love is conditional upon following Jesus. Don't claim otherwise. I can't believe they say that. They try to talk to me about it. All you have to do is get in the... be a Christian and everything will be forgiven, and do anything after that you'll be forgiven. This is not the case. I don't know why are they preaching that way. All you need to do to refute that, just read a few pages of the Bible and you reach the conclusion that I have.
We'll get into, inshallah, the concept of how to worship or the basic strategies about worship. But I'm trying to get it practical. How do we make, really worship the center of our lives? That we utilize everything in our lives, all circumstances, all our efforts, all our talents, we use them or we utilize them to worship the Creator and thank Him. Yes? Okay. Please, Jamal, you had something.
Yeah. No matter what we are, students, engineers, physicians, scientists, we have to work for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, center of our life.
Very good. So before you carry on, that's a very good introduction. So no matter what you are doing in this life, whether you are a writer, a teacher, doctor, engineer, pilot, whatever you do, whatever your profession is, this is a means that you have to worship the Creator. How can you tell me how? Please?
Okay. I have two experience in US.
Okay.
One of these that we as students, Muslim Students Association in the United States, we gathered and make debate between Reverend Jim Swaggart and Ahmed Deedat there.
Okay, the famous debate.
Yes.
So you were involved in that?
Yes, I was involved, and with other colleagues and brothers there. And that's give a great effect in the community that we live in. That
actually in the whole world.
Yes.
Spread. Yes.
In that time, we were unexpected how it sounds to the community. Yes. But later on we found out that the whole world know about that, and positively, of course. And the second thing that we as a student also organized a debate. It was an engineer, Muslim engineer, and a reverend dedicated. When we say reverend, a priest, only he was for church.
All his life. Yeah,
and one from Jews.
A rabbi,
Yeah.
A rabbi.
So one of the questions raised from the audience saying, why there is no sheikh to say about Islam? Yeah. We said that, the presenter said, why there should be a sheikh? We as Muslims, regardless of our positions, we have to convey a message of Islam.
We don't have a man of religion and a man of world, a man of engineer. Every Muslim, the center of his life should be the worship of the Creator.
So the concept that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to all of His prophets to worship God, whether it is Christianity, Jews, whoever, came, the message was very clear.
So very good, because as you lived in the USA, because of the organizational skills that you had, you organized this kind of event that really helped many people understand the reality of Islam and even the reality of Christianity. So it's some kind of an eye-opener experience. That's very good. I mean, give me some kind of personal experience that you had about how to utilize everything in your life. Yeah. Okay, Mohammad, you have something? Because I have something to add after that.
Okay, well, thank you. When you were talking about degrees, I thought that you were talking about me.
Yes.
I mean, I'm fond of...
I wasn't talking about you, but anyway.
I know, I'm just kidding. I mean, I am fond of getting degrees. Right now, I'm doing my MAs. So I thought that, okay, why just make this as a means rather than an end in my life? I mean, I'm doing my MAs in applied linguistics, and
Sorry, how old are you, Muhammad? You're doing your MA, yeah?
I'm 28.
Oh, 28. Okay,
I'm 28.
You look a bit older.
Yep.
So very good. So
I'm doing my MAs in applied linguistics, and I intend to do my PhDs in translation. So I said to myself that I can use these degrees in order to achieve reward from Allah, in order to achieve the pleasure of Allah, by, for example, translating some very important works.
Have you started doing this?
Actually, I will start soon translating a booklet.
Very good.
For Sheikh Jamil Zainu.
Very good.
Which is entitled, What They Say About the Prophet Muhammad.
Very good.
So I believe that I can utilize this worldly degree, this worldly stuff, into getting
very good.
A reward.
Okay. Someone specialized in language, translation. He intends to use this to do what is good, to extend what is good. So that's a very good example. Who else has some kind of personal experience? You know, it doesn't have to be like, I have a skill like translation, I have to use it like, for example, directly. But even indirectly, doctors have a very open avenue to give da'wah. When patients come to them, and I've seen many of them, you know, patients come to them, they always give advice in the best way, you know, because the patient is mainly always submissive to the doctor. Because you know, I don't know, okay, you know, give me some kind of medication. So there's some kind of submission. So he's ready to listen to the doctor. And he uses this to give them sincere advice. Reminds them of their Creator. Remind them of the reality of this world. That we talked about a few weeks ago. That this world is just a fleeting aim. It's temporary, you know. It doesn't last forever. We all know, you know, all past generations give me the name of any person who lived 200 years ago who's still alive today. You know, billions of people passed away. But still we are holding on to life, we're clinging to life as if we're going to live forever. And it doesn't cause us to think about the reality of it. This is some kind of falling into the habit of taking life for granted. This is why I said classification is very destructive. Always be creative in the way you see the world. Think about it. Every experience that happens to you is an eye-opener. Use it to think about this life. Use it to improve yourself, to improve your skills, improve your understanding of the world, of the people around you. Allah, our Creator, has given us the talents and the gifts. We have to polish them up. We have to use them and improve them. And you see, the quality of our lives will really change. Let's go back in history to the time of the companions of the Prophet. Peace be upon him. He taught his companions, he said to them that with everything you do, you can earn reward. That means it turns into some kind of act of worship. Remember we said worship is fixed, things you cannot play with. Prayer, fast, and hajj, you have to do them as prescribed. But there's an open field in this life in order to make the best out of it. What is the advice the Prophet gave, or the beautiful example he gave to his companions? We'll find out after we have this short break. And we say to all viewers, stay tuned to find out after the break.
خيركم من تعلم القرآن وعلمه ورتل القرآن ترتيلا. Learning how to recite the Quran properly, learning the meaning of what we recite, including the ahkam from the verses which we recite, trying to implement what we learn in our daily life. We'll listen to the participants and the guests. We'll take your phone calls. We're going to recite live. We'll listen to your recitation. And we'll correct it according to the rules and regulations which we'll state in each episode. Now, your dream will come true.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Well, again, welcome to Inspirations. You're still watching this show. We are talking about the concept of worship. I will remind you before we carry on about our email address. Keep sending us your emails on inspirations@huda.tv. Inspirations@huda.tv. And I say, inshallah, in the future we will get some of your contributions, some of your emails, and share them with our guests and our viewers, inshallah, especially those pertaining to the subjects we talk about. So we said the Prophet, peace be upon him, explained to the companions. He gave them the clue about how this whole life can be an open field or a fertile land to do acts of worship, to improve your soul, improve your heart, and improve yourself in general. He said to the companions, even in one of you feeding his wife, putting a spoonful or a mouthful of food into the mouth of your wife will be considered an act of, or will be rewarded, will be some kind of charity, will be appreciated by Allah, by the Creator. So like, for example, Muhammad, when you are good to your friends, Kareem is your friend, when you are good to him, Allah will appreciate this. Yes. So as well, Kareem as well. And every one of us, when you are good to the people, God will appreciate this and will be thankful to it. And as well, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said that even when one of you has an intimate relation with your wife, you will have reward in that. Imagine, so basically, everything in your life can turn into an act of worship. This is what gives power to the character of the Muslim. People in this world, they live with some kind of dispersed or scattered kind of goals. Someone wants money, and he still wants to have good friends. But sometimes he compromises his friends for the wealth, for his own benefit. Because this world is made up of conflicting goals and objectives. You cannot chase everything in this world altogether. You have to, achieve something at the expense of something else. You have to compromise something to get something else. This is the nature of this world. So people, basically, those who don't believe, those who don't worship the Creator and thank Him, basically what's happening to them, their mind is scattered. And Allah said this in the Qur'an. He said to the Prophet, and don't follow the people who have followed their whims and desires, because we desire wealth, we desire, for example, women, we desire status, education, everything, different things. So many things are conflicting. So what happens? Their hearts become scattered because they want to catch this, they want to catch that. This and that, this and that. Their life is gone. All their efforts are scattered, are wasted. Whereas the believer, his ultimate goal is to worship the Creator and be thankful to Him. Be one or a person of a noble character. Be thankful to this Creator. So everything in his life pushes him to that one direction. This is what gives strength to the character of the believer. So you see how beautiful the religion of Islam is? Or the concept of worship is? So, and, Basil touched on a very important concept. The secret of intention. The Prophet said in a very beautiful hadith, لا أجر لمن لا حسبة له. Anyone who doesn't develop the intention, the good intention to please the Creator, be thankful to Him in the things He does, he will not get rewarded for that. Maybe you are good to the people because you enjoy that, not to be thankful to the Creator. But someone who believes in the Creator, who knows that worship is the center of his life, he knows that God gave me this wealth, and some people are deprived of it. It's my responsibility to be thankful to the Creator, is to share that with other people. You see how beautiful the intention is? It's not something selfish. Something very beautiful. So this is the secret of the intention. And you know what you can do with this kind of intention? Even when you go to sleep, you can still get reward. With sleep, yes, you can get reward. The meter of the good deeds, of the reward, will keep running while you are sleeping. Could you imagine that? Yes. So the life of the Muslim is a life of fulfillment. Is a life of real achievement. The Muslim side is always attached forward, ahead, to do what is good, to do what is perfect. And when the worship becomes the center of our life, and we know that it is love for Allah, love and thankfulness to Allah, we appreciate the things He gave us, so we want to share that with humanity. So when we see people deprived, we give them. When we see people who are suffering, we try to help them. Why? Because this is a concept of thankfulness to the Creator. These are His creation. Many people live in different parts of the world. They don't know about Islam. They deserve to know about Islam. So as Muslims, it's our responsibility to share this treasure that we have with them. Why? Because it is a gift from Allah. And in order to be thankful to this gift, we have to share it. Because if we don't share it, He might take it away from us. So, Mohammad, do you have something? Please, can you pass on the mic?
Well, as for talking about the heart intention, you have reminded me with the prophetic hadith, where the Prophet ﷺ says, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ, which the jurists consider third of the religion.
Yes.
Verily, deeds are counted on the basis of heart intention.
Yes.
And thus I'll use the example of sleeping. I mean, I'm addressing the non-believers now.
Yes.
How in Islam you can gain rewards out of sleeping. I mean, if you intend
Yes.
to gain strength
Yes.
in order to do or to offer or to establish the acts of worship,
Yes.
then you will gain rewards out of this sleeping.
Yes.
And that's that. And that's how you can gain rewards from doing anything in our religion.
Yes.
So, and thus this is a great religion, right? No? This is a great religion for you.
So
that's that.
So basically, you see, as I said, this life becomes a fertile land that we can utilize. Please, Basil.
It's amazing how much of an impact this new attitude that you would have on life once you start worshipping Allah, make Him the center of your life. Amazing that it adds so much meaning to your life. It gets you more focused. In the past, you used to care about how many things can I do per day, quantity. Now, all I care about is quality. I want to do things that will make Him happy, and I'm going to do them right. Your value system will change. Things that you used to value in the past doesn't really matter much to you. And now a lot of things, your priority system actually changed so much. You used to have like 10 priorities per day. Every day you wake up and do 10 things. Now, you know what? I just want to do 5 things, and I want to do them right. It's amazing how much it can change your way you look at life. It makes you a stronger, better person. Just if you just can make that quick click in your mind and say, no, I want to live to obey Him in everything I do. The impact it has on your life.
Very good. Something very beautiful about the worship is that we said this repeatedly in previous episodes, that to worship God is human. It's our innate nature. This is why all nations, as I said, worship. They worship. They have an object to worship. So it is very deep in the human soul to worship. We need to worship the Creator. We feel this need. This is why people try to run away from it. And what they do, they live in some kind of spiritual emptiness. They know that. But they don't want to face the reality, because they know they have to do so many changes, so many alterations in their lives. They have to set things right. So many things in their lives that will take them a lot of effort. And they don't have the courage. They're not ready to take this step. Okay, can we have some...
Before I lose this point, you just said they have to make many changes. As a matter of fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking you in many ways to do the same exact thing. Just change your perspective.
Very good.
Change your intention. Do the same exact... I'm not asking you to do many things. Keep doing. You're doing fine. Just make that click and go to the devoted intention for me.
Very good.
And you're just doing just fine.
That's it. Get the worship right and other things. As I said, everything we can utilize it to benefit. Muhammad, please.
So we're talking about the worship now. But let me draw your attention for something. So God, they create us to worship Him. But He gave us a lot of action, a lot of actor to do. And we will use the easiest things for us. For example, He gave us 5 Salawat al-Khamsa. It's 5 prayer times.
Prayers, yeah.
Okay. And there's a difference. From time to time we have 5
Yes,
5 prayers,
on intervals. Every now and then we have them. Yes.
And also you can use the fasting. There's a Hajj. Also He gives us an excuse for that. So whenever the Muslims or anyone, he can do these things, he will do it and he will get the reward for that.
These are, these are the basis, the foundation.
I see.
Once you have to get them right. The reason why I'm not talking about them is that we dealt with them when we talked about Islam. We talked about the prayer and fast and everything. So we established that. But now we're trying just to clear some misconceptions about the act of worship. So what you said is perfectly true. These are the foundation, and then we have the extension. And as Basil said, it's a very important thing. Once you get the foundation right, is that keep doing what you are doing. It's good already. If what you are doing is good, you can keep doing it. But all you have to do is fix the intention, fix the root of it, so it becomes a fruitful kind of tree. Carry on, you had something else to say, Mohammad.
Yes, and also, if you believe something that the successful depend in basis, first of all, the educations, and if you thanks God for getting times to educate yourself, to get learning, it will also benefit. So you reap the benefit after the end of the study years.
Even during that, you will get rewarded
for that.
Yes.
Another thing is the personality, the communication skills. When you communicate with somebody else, it's also some rewarded for that. You will get also the reward for it.
Very good.
For example, we're talking now in a different language, which is the Islamic language is Arabic. So now we can communicate the Islam to a different country. And this is also facilitates our purpose to present Islamic in good way to let the front or for anyone here for the Islam understand exactly what we want to convey for him.
That's it.
The third and the important things is you're talking about your times or the authority and somehow. The authority is give from God, okay? The authority is that everyone, he got something in his mind, okay? And he will be qualified to send the message or to
the message of Islam.
Yeah, I mean the message of Islam.
Definitely, that's the responsibility of every Muslim. But basically, now, my purpose here is just before we conclude this episode, is really try just to clear to everyone what worship really means. That is not, as I said, this kind of boring notion about worship. That it includes everything, as you said, even education, everything becomes a means, and you will get rewarded for it. Once you get the right intention, as Muhammad said, you will turn into a constructive, kind of effort that all revolves around, the concept of worship. The things that we haven't finished with worship, and time's running out. We only have 2 minutes to conclude, but I promise you, as to the coming weeks, next week inshallah, I'll give more time to talk about the meaning of worship. So many points we haven't covered, but just because it's very deep, and before we get into anything, we have to see things right. Once we see it right, all misconceptions will go away. And, once we have this kind of new attitude, we can see things right, and new ideas, a new kind of, altitude and horizon for our own understanding of our lives will open for us. So this is the reason or the main purpose of this episode, to open our eyes to the reality of our lives just through understanding this basic concept of worship that is very essential in our lives. Now let me conclude with, saying that worship is very human. Everyone needs to worship, and worship will give you more than it will take from you. Actually, everything you put in worship, and we know that happiness is in giving, not in taking. And believe me, once you get into worship, understand it fully, and all your actions go into one direction, your whole life, you see the momentum of it, your life is going into one direction. It's very constructive. So your life can really be a life of achievement, a life of morals, a life of good manners and principles. So this is the beautiful concept of worship in Islam. I want to talk about other things like some of the violations, unfortunately, some Muslims have about Islam and about worship, but we'll leave this for next episode, inshallah, which will be live. And we will receive some of the contributions from our viewers. Now, thank you all for being with us. I hope we have managed to clarify the concept of worship. And then I turn to all viewers, I say, thank you so much for watching us. And I hope that we managed, or at least even if slightly managed to change or open your eyes to the reality of this beautiful concept of worship, and free ourselves from the misconceptions and the prejudgments about this beautiful word and this beautiful world, actually, world of worship. I hope that we will manage to get into a correct understanding of it and really make use of it, because happiness really lies in there, because this is the purpose of our creation. This is why we are here. So let's understand it. And I hope we have managed to do this, even if slightly. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward you and guide all of us to the truth until we meet next time. I leave you in peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.